here's a question for you. When you reach out for the old bar of chocolate or mince pie or whatever it might be at this time of year, have you ever thought about how much exercise it would require to run off the calories in that chocolate or cake or whatever it is?
Researchers think that if information was on the label, it might encourage us to make healthier choices and help bring down obesity levels. Our health correspondent Dominic Hughes has the details.
Food already carries information about calories, fat, sugar and salt content. But researchers say the current system is poorly understood and it's not having an impact on rising levels of obesity. So, what about labelling that tells you the amount and type of exercise you'd need to do to burn off all those calories?
We know that the public consistently underestimate the amount of calories. So if you ask the public how many calories are in this food, they often underestimate how many are in it. So we would like to see physical activity calorie equivalent labelling, because actually it gives a meaning and a context to the amount of exercise or physical activity required to burn that food.
As a rough guide to the link between exercise and food, let's put together a lunchtime meal deal. A chicken and bacon sandwich, roughly 445 calories, would require 42 minutes of slow running. A chocolate bar, 229 calories, would need 22 minutes of running. Wash that down with a medium mocha coffee, that's 290 calories and 28 minutes of running. All up, that's more than an hour and a half of running. Researchers say such a labelling system could save nearly 200 calories per person per day. This research is limited by a shortage of studies that look at how people would change their habits in real life. But even small reductions in the calories we consume can make a big impact across the whole population. And experts say this is a simple, cheap measure that could make a real difference to the obesity crisis. Dominic Hughes, BBC News.
So it's an interesting idea. We've got, all this has helped make me do is feel really hungry. We've got a selection of food here. So, for example, one mince pie would take you 21 minutes, apparently, to run off.
Yeah, all sort of careful consideration. I suppose the question is, would that make you think differently about what you eat, what you buy? We're joined now by dietitian Nichola Ludlam-Raine and Paul Chesworth from Obesity UK. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about this morning.
Morning.
Louise is feeling rather peckish, having seen all that. I think I ran off a mince pie of taking the Christmas tree down to Five Live a few moments ago. But do you think, would it make a difference to, if you're shopping in an aisle and you see a mince pie and you know, okay, that mince pie, if I have one of those, it's 21 minutes to run that off on a treadmill?
At face value, this sounds really interesting and really promising. However, there's a couple of issues. So the first is that it could be extremely problematic for people with eating disorders or disordered eating, because it portrays the message that food needs to be earned or burnt off, which it doesn't, because our bodies naturally burn calories just by sitting, and we all burn a different number of calories based on our age, gender, muscle mass, size. And secondly, it portrays the message that food is simply calories and nothing more. And really, there's a massive difference between 200 calories of vegetables and 100 calories of biscuits. Biscuits provide a lot of added sugar, vegetables provide a lot of vitamins. And that's not to say we can never eat biscuits, but it just has to be in balance and moderation across the week.
Paul, you've got quite a story. How much weight did you lose in 12 months? Was it
11 stone.
Wow.
Right. So I suppose two questions really. How did you come to the point where you needed to lose that?
Well, I dieted from probably being about 15, 16 years of age. So I've yo-yo dieted through my life. Developed diabetes type 2. Kind of followed in the same footpaths as my dad. He had exactly the same journey, which then comes down to the genetics of things, as I've now found out. But I got to a point where I had type 2. My next protocol was going to be I'll be on insulin dependent, and I researched it from a friend talking to me who's a nurse, a lady that I've known for a long time, and looked and investigated, researched the actual bariatric surgery as a support.
Yeah.
Always thinking it's an extreme thing to do. However, once found out about it, once I did the research, the vast majority, a high percentage of people, it puts diabetes type 2 in remission. I'd seen how my father had suffered until he died at 80 through the associated disease of heart disease from his diabetes, and I wanted to do something about it. I didn't want to live that.
You've clearly done.
Yeah.
Tell us about, for example, if food had that sort of label on it, going, quarter piece of pizza is 43 minutes running, 83 minutes walking. If that had been on the label, would it have made any difference to you?
Well, not really, no, because at the size I was 26 and a half stone. If somebody said to me, if you eat that, you've got to run for 20 minutes, physically I couldn't do that. So it's an unrealistic target for some people. I think giving people that choice is really good, but it just emphasises that people are looking at it very simplistically, where from the work I do as a patient advocate, it's a very, very complex disease, living with obesity.
We've had loads of comments about this, as you probably expect. Richard says counting calories doesn't work. It's the quality of the food that you eat. Eileen, if we all start making our own and buy loose from the butchers, we can avoid most of the labels. Richard, if you want to get fit, do exercise. If you want to lose weight, cut out the junk food. Doing exercise, Richard says, makes you hungry. We were talking on the sofa earlier on with Sally as well about you touched on those with sort of dietary issues. But what you don't want to do, surely, is associate food, which tastes nice, with sort of guilt feelings when you're giving yourself a treat of a chocolate bar, a pizza or a mince pie.
Exactly. Food is about enjoying it. We've got a massive social aspect. It's Christmas coming up. So it's about moderating what you're eating across the week. The other problem is the fact that if you look at calories, if you look at food simply from a calorie point of view, you could say, well, as long as I run or walk enough, I can live off pizza, chocolate and sugar, which would not make you healthy.
Let's just talk about a little bit about the research. It's from Loughborough University, and what they're trying to do is make healthier dietary choices. They say that this could scale, the labels were put on it, it could scale up to roughly 200 calories per day. Now, that would actually make a difference to people, wouldn't it? If it worked, would it make a difference?
I'm not sure if it would, because there'll still be a lot of things that wouldn't have the labels, and that's the difference. 200 calories sounds an awful lot. But to burn off 200 calories, how long was that going to take? So if you're going to reduce it by that, it's not that much in a day to actually have the effect. I think the good thing is it's educating people to look at the example you had this morning was the bacon and egg, the meal deal with a bacon and egg sandwich as a meal deal, was if somebody looks and they say, well, actually, instead of looking at the calories and understanding it, it's going to take me an hour and a half to burn off that meal deal. Actually, if I have this meal deal, it'd only take me 30 minutes. So that would potentially have lower calories. So you could do a
compare and contrast.
Yes. Instead of having to read all the labels, the red, green, ambers would give you a quick, but that's only a very small. It would work for some people. Eating healthy will work for everybody, whether they are a normal weight or they are overweight or they are obese, like I used to be. That's the fact, is that it will help people. But it's very complex. It's not a quick one answer. Eat less food, do more exercise has been preached for the last 30, 40 years. Obviously, it's not working. We've got an obesity epidemic, and that's what needs to change. It's educating people needs to change. We need to support people with that. We need to give them the education so they can make the choice. Yes, I had to take responsibility at 50 years of age in one respect, but all through my life I've taken responsibility. I've worked all my life. So that doesn't always kind of fit the social aspect of what people are told. This is what people living with obesity are. You've got to have that change.
It's really interesting talking to you, Paul Chelsworth. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, I'm glad to get it right eventually. And Nichola Ludlam-Raine, thank you very much indeed for you both. Good to speak to you. Thank you. And please take these away, because to be honest with you, it's just too tempting for me.
It's everything in moderation. You can have a balanced diet.
I do running around. And actually, it's changed my thoughts in some ways as well.
You've already had some healthy yogurt and granola this morning, so you can afford yourself a little bit of chocolate, I think. Thanks for all your comments as well. Do keep those coming in. We'll try and get through some of those a little bit later on. Thank you.
Should we